Understanding your dog starts with one simple truth most owners overlook completely. Your dog is not acting randomly, even when behavior seems confusing or unexpected. Every movement, reaction, and habit comes from something very consistent underneath. And once you see that clearly, everything your dog does starts making sense. Dogs are constantly observing the world in a way most people never notice. They watch movement, sound, and energy long before reacting to anything. Even when your dog looks relaxed, their awareness is still fully active. That's why they respond so quickly when something suddenly changes. When your dog follows you around the house, it's not just attachment. Your dog is tracking movement and staying connected to your actions. They are reading where you go, how you move, and what changes next. This behavior is part instinct, not just affection or habit. The same thing happens when your dog watches you without moving. They may stay still, but their attention is completely focused on you. Your dog is not zoning out or ignoring the environment around them. They are quietly processing everything that is happening in real time. This is why dogs often react before you fully notice something yourself. A sound outside or a quick movement triggers their response instantly. They don't wait to analyze the situation the way humans do. They respond based on patterns they already recognize. And this is where many owners start to feel confused. Because the reaction feels sudden, even though it was building underneath. Your dog has already noticed something long before you realized it. You are seeing the reaction, not the full process behind it. Once you understand this, a lot of behavior becomes easier to read. Your dog isn't being unpredictable or acting without reason. They are following patterns that happen very quickly and consistently. You just weren't seeing those patterns clearly before. For example, when your dog reacts to a small noise, it seems instant. But your dog has already heard smaller signals before that moment. They have already processed changes you didn't notice at all. By the time you react, they have already made a decision. This is also why dogs seem to know what you're about to do. They pick up on small signals in your movement and posture. Even slight changes in direction or speed give them information. And they act on that information almost immediately. At first, this can feel surprising or even slightly confusing. Like your dog is always one step ahead of your actions. But this is not guesswork or luck from your dog. It's consistent observation happening faster than you expect. Then something else becomes noticeable over time. Your dog starts reacting before you fully complete your actions. They don't wait for a clear signal or command every time. They move based on what they believe is about to happen next. This is where behavior can start to feel slightly off. Not wrong, not chaotic, but slightly out of sync with you. Your dog is moving on timing that feels faster than yours. And that difference creates confusion for many owners. What's really happening is very simple once you see it clearly. Your dog moves from observing to acting with almost no delay. There is very little pause between those two steps. And that is what makes their behavior feel so quick. Other dogs may pause longer before reacting to situations. They wait, look around, and process before making a decision. But many dogs act faster once they recognize a familiar pattern. And that speed changes how their behavior appears to you. This becomes very clear when something unexpected happens nearby. Your dog becomes still, focused, and suddenly more alert. They are not reacting yet, but something is already happening. They are processing what they see and what might happen next. Then, once that internal decision is made, movement follows quickly. There is no long pause between thinking and reacting. Your dog shifts from stillness into action in a moment. And that transition feels sudden if you didn't see it building. This is why some situations seem to escalate very quickly. From calm to reaction in what feels like a single second. But your dog has been processing that situation the entire time. You just didn't see the earlier stages of that process. Once you understand this, you begin noticing it everywhere. In how your dog watches you and reacts to small changes. In how they follow movement and adjust without hesitation. And in how quickly they respond to familiar situations. Your dog is not acting randomly or unpredictably at all. They are following a very consistent sequence every time. They observe, process, decide, and then act on that decision. That sequence just happens faster than most owners expect. This is why understanding your dog changes everything. You stop reacting only to behavior after it happens. And you start noticing what leads up to that behavior. That shift makes everything feel clearer and more predictable. When you see the early signals, behavior stops feeling sudden. You begin to recognize what your dog is about to do next. And that awareness gives you more clarity in everyday situations. Instead of confusion, you start seeing patterns clearly. Understanding your dog is not about memorizing complicated rules. It's about noticing simple patterns that repeat every day. Once you recognize those patterns, behavior becomes easier to read. And your dog starts making a lot more sense. That's when everything begins to feel different. Your dog isn't unpredictable, and they're not acting randomly. They are simply responding to the world in a fast, consistent way. And once you see that, you can't unsee it anymore. There is another layer to this that most owners only notice much later. It becomes clear when your dog is watching something unfamiliar nearby. Your dog becomes still, focused, and slightly more alert than before. Not reacting yet, but clearly paying close attention to what is happening. You can often see this in their eyes and body posture. The eyes stay locked longer, and the body remains controlled. There is no panic or excitement, just a steady kind of focus. Your dog is observing and processing without making a move yet. This moment is important because something is already happening inside. Your dog is not waiting the way you might expect. They are forming a decision about what comes next. And that decision is happening very quickly beneath the surface. This is where timing becomes very important with dog behavior. Because once your dog decides, action follows almost immediately. There is no long pause between thinking and reacting. The shift from stillness to movement happens very fast. This is why some reactions feel like they come out of nowhere. From calm to action in what feels like a single moment. But your dog has been processing the situation the entire time. You are just seeing the final part of that process. Once you understand this, behavior starts to feel more predictable. You begin noticing the small signals before the reaction happens. Your dog's posture, focus, and attention give you early clues. And those clues help you understand what might happen next. This also explains why your dog reacts differently in familiar places. In environments they know well, decisions happen even faster. Your dog recognizes patterns and responds without hesitation. That familiarity makes their reactions feel even more immediate. In new environments, you may notice something slightly different. Your dog still observes everything, but the process takes longer. They scan more, watch more, and gather more information first. But once they decide, the reaction is still very quick. This difference between familiar and new situations is important. It shows that your dog is always adjusting based on context. They are not reacting blindly or randomly to what they see. They are constantly reading the environment around them. Another moment where this becomes clear is during routine activities. Simple actions like picking up keys or walking toward the door. Your dog reacts before you even complete the action. Because they recognize patterns from previous experiences. This is why dogs often seem to predict what you will do next. They are not guessing, and they are not reading your mind. They are noticing small details that repeat over time. And those details allow them to act before you finish. When you begin to see this clearly, your perspective changes. You stop seeing behavior as random or confusing reactions. Instead, you start seeing a sequence that repeats consistently. Observe, process, decide, and act in a smooth flow. This sequence explains most everyday behavior you see in your dog. From following you around to reacting to sudden changes. It all comes back to how quickly your dog moves through that sequence. And how little time exists between each step. Understanding this also helps you stay calmer in certain situations. Because you realize your dog is not acting out of nowhere. They are responding to something they already noticed earlier. You are just seeing the final part of that response. Once you start recognizing these early stages, everything slows down. Not in reality, but in how you understand what is happening. You begin to see the buildup instead of just the reaction. And that makes your dog's behavior feel much more predictable. This is where real understanding begins to take shape. Not through complex rules or detailed explanations, but through noticing simple patterns that repeat every day, and recognizing how fast those patterns actually happen. Your dog is constantly observing more than you realize. They are processing more information than it appears on the surface. And they are acting on that information very quickly. That combination is what creates the behavior you see. When you look at your dog through this lens, things change. Behavior feels less confusing and more consistent over time. You begin to trust what you are seeing instead of guessing. And your dog starts to make a lot more sense. That is what understanding your dog really comes down to. Not changing them, but seeing what is already happening clearly. Once you do that, behavior becomes easier to read every day. And your relationship with your dog naturally improves over time.